Good morning, heroic people of Venezuela, soldiers of the homeland, sons and daughters of Bolivar. The Bolivarian National Armed Forces informs. Since early this January morning, the Venezuelan people have been the object of the most criminal military aggression by the government of the United States of North America. So far, the barbarity of the invading forces, who have profaned our sacred soil in the localities of Fuerte-Tayuna, Caracas, and the states of Miranda, Aragua, and La Guaira, has reached the point of impacting civilian residential areas with missiles and rockets fired from combat helicopters. We are currently gathering information regarding the wounded and the dead. Facing this vile and cowardly attack that threatens the peace and stability of the region, we raise the most forceful denunciations before the international community and all multilateral organizations, so that this North American imperialist action be condemned for its flagrant violation of the United Nations Charter and international law. A free, independent, and sovereign Venezuela rejects with the full force of its libertarian history the presence of these foreign troops, who have only left death, pain, and destruction in their wake. This invasion represents the greatest outrage the country has ever suffered, responding to the insatiable greed for our strategic resources, far from any alleged fight against narco-terrorism. This deplorable action seeks to definitively force a regime change and subject us to the spurious designs of North American imperialism, trampling upon the inalienable right to self-determination for which our liberators fought and which we are called to defend today with the same dignity. Therefore, in this ill-fated hour, I invoke the courage we inherited from the liberators, who taught us that dignity is not negotiated and that the homeland is a supreme value. We have been attacked, but we will not be bent. United, soldier and people, we will form an indestructible wall of resistance. Our vocation is peace, but our heritage is the struggle for freedom. We, who extend a hand in brotherhood, today close our fists in defense of what is ours. Let us unite, for in the union of the people we will find the strength to resist and overcome. Amidst this imperial onslaught, I make a fervent call for serenity and sanity, to maintain unity and calm. Despair is the ally of the invader. Fortitude is the shield of the homeland. Let us not yield to the panic that the enemy wishes to sow. Let us avoid chaos and anarchy, which are weapons as lethal as bombs. Let us show the world the fiber we are made of. Let us be resilient, maintain our integrity in adversity, and set in motion all the national defense plans for which we have been preparing. To this end, and in compliance with the Constitution of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, the Organic Law on States of Exception, and the Organic Law of National Security, we unrestrictedly support the decree of a state of external commotion throughout the national territory. Consequently, the men and women of the Bolivarian National Armed Forces, following instructions from citizen Nicolas Maduro Moros, constitutional president and our commander-in-chief, will deploy all our capabilities for the integral defense of the nation and the restoration of order and peace. Therefore, we will activate across the entire geographical spectrum, and in perfect popular, military, and police fusion, a state of complete operational readiness through the massive deployment of all land, air, naval, fluvial, and missile assets. We will integrate all elements of national power in the mission to face imperial threats, forming a single combat block. Honor, duty, and history call us. May the cry of a free homeland echo in every corner. Victory is ours because reason and dignity are on our side. We shall overcome. Long live the homeland. The use of sovereignty as a shield for authoritarianism. From a right-wing viewpoint, the speech's obsession with sovereignty and self-determination is hypocritical. A government that has systematically dismantled the rule of law, ignored its own constitution, and held on to power through fraudulent elections, according to the international community, has already forfeited its moral claim to sovereignty. The critique: sovereignty resides in the people, not in a military clique. The speech uses the homeland as a synonym for the regime. By invoking Bolivar, they attempt to wrap a failed socialist experiment in the flag of independence to justify the continued oppression of the Venezuelan citizens. 2. Narrative of imperialist greed versus reality of internal failure. The speech blames insatiable greed for strategic resources for the intervention. The critique: this is a classic Marxist populist trope used to deflect blame from the regime's own economic destruction. A right-wing analysis would point out that Venezuela, home to the world's largest oil reserves, has been ruined not by imperialism, but by central planning, systemic corruption, and the theft of private property. The mention of narco-terrorism as an alleged fight is seen as a desperate attempt to delegitimize serious international criminal indictments against the regime's leadership. 3. The civic-military fusion as an instrument of terror. The speech calls for a perfect popular, military, and police fusion and an indestructible wall of resistance. The critique: this is viewed as an admission of a police state. In a free society, the military is a neutral institution. Here, it is openly the armed wing of a political party, the PSUV. By calling on the people to form a combat bloc, the regime is essentially using its own starving population as human shields to protect a corrupt elite. It is an appeal to collectivism that sacrifices individual lives for survival of a political ideology.